So good morning and good afternoon, everyone. Special welcome to our weekly call. Always a thrill. I apologize these last couple of weeks. Last week I was sick. We've had this, which I can't remember the last time I was sick. But I guess this is the joy of being back in England with the fantastically rotten weather that we've got.
Hello, test 1, 2, 3. No.
Oh, I'm gonna mute everyone. Bear with me. There we go. There we go. So, pleasure to be with you. And like I said, it's this wonderful English weather, I think, has blessed our family with a round of colds and flus and what have you, which the kids have been gleefully sharing across the household. But a pleasure to be back with you this week. And I wanted to talk, for those of you that got the message yesterday that I sent out, and the brief reminder that I put up online on Facebook just about half an hour ago. The subject today is around the psychology of contagious emotions, and importantly, why that plays an important part in the role of events in our business.
Hello, test 1, 2, 3.
We've heard it said, I'm going to mute all again, people are joining in. We've heard it said many times that we run our business from event to event, don't we? And perhaps we've heard that, gotten used to that message, understood that yes, it motivates us and the power of motivation is important, and perhaps we haven't thought much further than that. But I want to talk about this today. I want to, of course, highlight as well the events that are coming up, the role that they play, the importance of them, but I want to give that physiological background as to why in particular this plays a part. Before I do, it's important to emphasize that today is the 29th of November, and we have today and tomorrow left before the month concludes. I'm not sure about you, but as I look at the volume in my business, and of course, a lot of you are in my business, so therefore, hopefully you're seeing it as well, the volume's looking very good this month. I think these product launches that we've been having are playing a very important part in the month of November. Additionally, of course, with the new products being launched and the special treats that Nikan has given, amongst all of this, is free shipping until the end of the month. So we've got to make sure that we give that last minute push and call out to all of our customers, all of our prospects, all of our business partners, our teams, what have you. If there is anything left to do over these next couple of days, and of course we know from history, there is always things to do in the last minute. Let's get that done. Let's make the most of these great offers that Nikan has for the month of November. Cash bonuses, cash prizes, free shipping, new products. It's making November a pretty awesome month. So with that being said, I want to jump into, of course, this physiology of contagious emotions and why in particular it plays a critical part in our business. I want to begin by sharing an example from my own observations. It happened a few years back. I was dealing, this was pre-Nikan, with a particularly stressful work experience, an ongoing crisis that took about 12 months to kind of battle through. And every night when I'd come home from work, I'd be relieved to be home, of course, but I'd be feeling the burden of stress that work was giving me as a consequence of what I was dealing with in the office. I'd come home to this place that was to be my refuge from the storm outside. But of course, we all know what my family organization looks like. There has always been, for the last 15 years, little children in my household. Little children make a lot of noise and a lot of mess and create an awful lot of energy. So I would come home feeling stressed. What would happen? I'd be confronted with all this noise and hustle and bustle, distraction, what have you, and it didn't necessarily help. Does anyone relate to those types of experiences? I'm sure I'm not the only one. Well, what did I notice? Why do I share this? I share it because I was aware of the right things that I needed to say in order to interact with my children. And I would deliberately make an effort to say the right things and strive. In my mind, I thought that I was being calm. I'm not one to raise my voice and to vent my stresses on other people. But what I noticed was, in spite of my effort to say the right thing, subconsciously, my kids were picking up on my emotions that I was bringing home. And even though I was doing my best to remain calm, subconsciously they were picking up on the fact that I wasn't. Have you ever noticed that? Have you ever gone into a room, perhaps when, I'll use a couple of extreme examples, when there's been an argument, a disagreement, and you walk in having not experienced it, but we have that phrase that's come into the mainstream of our language that says you could cut the atmosphere with a knife. Ever experienced that? Emotion just creates that energy, doesn't it? On the opposite side, have you ever walked into a room where someone's just cracked a joke and everyone's laughing and you've missed the joke, but you can't help but find yourself wanting to laugh as well? What's that about? You don't even know what the joke is, but you feel compelled to laugh. So on both extremes, we have this energy, this evidence that our emotions are contagious. Now, what's interesting is, and I've mentioned this a number of times at events, but I want to reiterate this for the nature of this topic tonight. What we find is that our body is made up physiologically of lots of different systems. We've got, for example, our circulatory system, our lymphatic system, our nervous system, our respiratory system, and so on. Each of these systems are what scientists, physiologists refer to as being closed-loop, self-regulating systems, meaning they pretty much take care of themselves. If we're in a healthy state, our circulatory system will just do what it does. Our lymphatic system will just do what it does. Because they're closed-loop, it means they don't need an outside influence in order to regulate it. I couldn't walk into a room, for example, and sit next to someone that has high blood pressure and has a challenge with their circulatory system, for example, and then suddenly find that it's rubbing off on me. Doesn't work that way. Their system is closed loop. It won't influence me, and my positive circulatory system won't rub off on them. It just simply doesn't work that way. But our emotional system, which is found in the limbic system in our brain, is what they call an open loop, meaning of necessity. It requires the engagement and interaction of others in order to maintain balance and to get regulation in the system. At a very essential life-preserving level, this occurs to make sure that the human species survives. My little child, if he cries, my emotional system immediately responds, and I want to interact and stop the crying. This helps us to make sure that the survival of the species is perpetuated for generations. If I didn't have that open loop, my child could cry, and I could be completely indifferent, and I might not even do anything at all. So we can see of necessity that happens, but we also see that it can take place not just in survival mode, but we can also see how it affects us in other areas. I want to share some interesting statistics here. Listen to this. Research in intensive care units. I find this really fascinating. We're talking about events, but let's start with the one-on-one scenarios first of all. Research in intensive care units has shown that the comforting presence of another person not only lowers the patient's blood pressure, but can also slow the secretion of fatty acids that block arteries. Additionally, positive relationships can see one person transmit signals that can alter hormone levels, cardiovascular functions, sleep rhythms, and even immune functions inside the body of another. Now, we've got a couple of people on the line today that are retired nurses. Perhaps they've even seen evidence of that in their own careers. When a comforting, loving other comes to be with a patient, the positive physiological effect that can have on that individual. What we see is, the reason I emphasize this, is that in all aspects of our social life, our physiologies of our bodies intermingle. So, that being said, what is the point? There's a great saying that I love from Edwin Markham, who said this: there is a destiny which makes us brothers. None goes his way alone. All that we send out into the lives of others comes back into our own. I love that point. It turns out that that's not simply just beautiful poetry and lovely words, but it's actually a scientific fact. All that we send out into the life of others comes back into our own. For that reason, the philosophy that Niken promotes of humans being more of balance through the 5 pillars of health, we suddenly see becomes significantly relevant in enriching the lives of other people. That our responsibility as a consultant, as an entrepreneur, as an ambassador of that cause is not just to talk, but also to be. So that when people are in our influence, in our environment, in our space, under our influence, by close proximity, that they can feel it. They can feel the difference. They can pick up on it, and they can ask you that question, what is it about you that makes me want to learn more? That makes me want to say yes to this? Because who we are, the energy that we project, can have an immediate impact on the life of others. So I love that. Our enthusiasm, our conviction, our love, our serenity, our courage, and so on, can literally influence the physiology of those around us. So here's the point, of course. That being said, what would happen, do you think, if a collective majority of like-minded, ambitious, courageous, heartwarming individuals all got into the same space and shared that environment? What would happen physiologically to your mind and to your emotions in that space? Well, for anyone that was at San Antonio, you can see what the difference is. You can see the impact, can't you? The energy that it creates is fantastic. It's electric, and it's energizing. It's confidence boosting. It's conviction generating. It's faith promoting. It's all of these things. And it's for this reason that we need to make sure that whilst we meet together in a space like this online, and I emphasize as well, I just posted a live Facebook event that I'm hosting next week to promote the new products that come out in Europe this weekend. Whilst online plays a part, it can never fully replace the person-to-person experience that we need to be enjoying, because this business is a heart-to-heart business, and the tools of an online platform play a part, but they don't replace that essential part of us being able to interact face-to-face. So that being said, I want to just share, I'm going to do a share screen right now, and just share one slide just to emphasize here we go, some events that are coming up that I'd like you to make a note of, because I think they're going to be fantastic. We can see on the 24th of January, of course, the month of December is going to be in the UK and in Europe, across the European markets. There's going to be launch events taking place across those markets. Anyone in any of those countries, if you're interested, I think it's good to perhaps private message or reach out to the office to find out where your local meetings are taking place there so you can participate. January becomes, I believe, a critical month for building our business and for preparing and planning for the rest of the year. So we begin on the 24th of January with an event in Mexico. And we've got our Mexican partners. Again, anyone that was at San Antonio in October will have felt the incredible energy that our Latin American team brought to that event. They were just on fire. And I know my wife was sat next to me, and she was saying, my goodness, I sure hope a lot of these guys are coming to the event in Orlando that we're hosting, because they just changed the game. And they brought such energy, such enthusiasm. If you want some of that to rub off on you, I'd invite you to come along and join us. I'm going to be there myself. Mike DiMuccio is also going to be speaking at that event. You can book your tickets at ticketmaster.com.mx. That's outlined on the screen here, but if you're just listening, ticketmaster.com.mx. The event is on the 24th of January. Please be sure to join us there. We're expecting hundreds of people at that event. And the purpose of this event is really to set plans for the forthcoming, not just the forthcoming year, in specifics over the next 90 days, what we can do to have a strong first quarter in 2017. And of course, we're going to be talking a lot about personal development. The philosophy of humans being more is going to come out in rich abundance at this event. Now, keep in mind that we've always encouraged our Latin American team to come to our North American events, like San Antonio as an example. I would love to show them that we want to go to theirs, and get a feel for the professionalism, the standard, the excellence, the energy that they have at their events. They know what they're doing. They're absolutely on fire. Definitely a great event to come to. The following week, I'm doing a bit of a road trip here because I'm going to be in Mexico on the 24th. And then the following week, I'm going to be in Salt Lake City in Utah with Dave Johnson and the team. Again, from the 26th to the 28th, there's going to be an event there. Again, another great kickstart to the year. If you can't make the Mexico event, of course, as well, definitely please be sure to come along to this one in Salt Lake. Again, you can find out more, book your tickets at magneticleaders.com/summit17. You can get information about the event. You can see a promo video that you can share online. You can book your tickets and so on. So again, please be sure to plan out, because in a mind-blowing way, I can't believe this, we're only literally just a few weeks away now from that event. And then finally, from the 27th to the 30th of April in Orlando, Florida, beautiful time of the year to be on the East Coast. You can be in the Now You See Me global event, which is going to be hosted by Kim and myself. We want everyone to come along and be a part of that. Please join us again on the nowyouseme.global website. You've got, again, a promo video that you can share with your teammates, with your prospects, and so on. You've got the agenda already laid out so you can see what the subjects are going to be from day to day. There is plenty of free time booked in there, so you can also enjoy the sights, sounds, smells, and weather of beautiful sunny Florida while you're there. So, and of course, do some networking. So please note the details there, so we can be a part of that. And again, like I said, you can also book your tickets from that site, and you can find out which hotel to stay in to get the best deal. So please be sure to join us for that. So I'm going to stop the sharing now. If you want to grab the details here, maybe grab a screenshot from your computer. If you don't have access to that, please just message me via Facebook afterwards. I'll send you the details. We can circulate them all very soon. So I'm going to do a stop sharing now. Come back here. Molly, you just raised a question here. Can you let the field know when the next Latin American event will be? Hoping to get there next year, but can't make it January. Okay, what I'll do, I'll find out, Molly, when the next one outside of January is. There's a couple of events in January. You've got the one on the 24th, which is a distributor-led event. There's also the company-sponsored event on the 22nd of January, which is on that weekend. The 24th, I believe, is a Tuesday. So that weekend before, there's going to be a big corporate event there as well. They do have a regular flow of events, so I'll find out, and I'll be sure to let you know and circulate that. I love the fact that we're starting to integrate Latin America more and more into our business, not just in communication, but them coming to our events and us going to theirs. And the reality is there isn't too much difference in flight times to go to California or Texas to Mexico, for example. So there are some great opportunities for everyone. I'm going to bring the meeting to a close now. I just want to conclude by saying, again, how important it is to recognize the responsibility that each of us has to project, and not just to say the right things, but to feel it in our heart, to have that vibration penetrate the hearts and minds of others, because the reality is it is that people believe far more than our words. My sons, my boys gave me that wonderful example that taught me a great lesson those years ago when I was coming home from work stressed, saying the right thing, but not feeling it, and they picked up on what was being felt. Again, behavioral psychologists show that when our body language does not reflect the words we speak, when there is incongruence between the two, which do you think people will believe, our words or our body language? It's our body language, which is why sometimes we say the things like, for some reason, I just don't trust that person. Saying all the right things, but I just was getting a different feeling. We've all had that, haven't we? So the reality is, if body language doesn't match the words, people will always believe the body language. So the critical starting point is, maybe I need to improve my own energy, my own convictions in order to do that. What's the best way to start? Come to a meeting. Maybe even host one yourself. Because in the process of doing, we then feel. We often think that our feelings are the fruit or the results of our beliefs, and they are. However, we often have incorrect beliefs that lead to these unwanted feelings. And I'm sure that we can relate to that throughout our lives. if we've done any degree of self-evaluation and introspection. And if that's the case, sometimes if we've got incorrect beliefs, we can change that belief by changing our behavior first and then getting the evidence of that, which can then give us the feelings that will follow. So if the starting point is I need to get myself in the right space, then please get out there, host a meeting, do something, take some action, attend an event. If there are others that you want to have that energy rub off and you want more support around that to give greater conviction to your prospects or your customers, bring them to an event. Host one for them to come to, plug them into one of these upcoming events so that they can all participate. It's really important, if we want to get great momentum, that we recognize the role that these events have. Yes, we truly do run our business from event to event. Why? Not just because it's fun, but because physiologically it's a proven fact that this is the best and most efficient way to increase the energy, the conviction, the hope, the confidence, and the belief in the hearts and minds of a collective majority than in any other way. It's a proven biological fact. This is the way to do it. So that being said, let's plug into these events. Let's make them count. Let's make them worth it. The more people we bring to them, the better the energy will be, the more excitement we'll feel, and the better will be the consequences in our own business in the following months that ensue. So to that end, let's go out, let's do it, let's have a great time. Jump onto those websites, book your tickets. I can see some people here saying, I'm going to do that straight away. Thank you so much. And again, I look forward to speaking to you real soon. Take care, everyone, and have a great week. Bye-bye.